Let's watch episode 23 of Orb on the movements of the Earth. Let's see now how the story goes on, considering the fact that the bishop decided to listen to Draka and publish the book. Let's watch it together. Of course. Yeah, that's not a mystery. Hmm. Yeah, it's pointless to waste time. Yeah. From the beginning. You also kill the people for money, Novak. Yeah, but do you know who that person was? You have already lost a god. Yeah. No, no, in fact. Oh, yeah. Mm. No, it's not a matter of optimism. Yeah. Yeah, there is no god in this world, not at all, let me tell you. Exactly. So let's erase this institution. Let's give God here. Mm-mm. Wow, that means you're fired. Wow. You were trashed like nothing, Novak. Oh, he wants to kill him. Or he wants to kill himself? Oh. No, Novak, unbelievable. What the F? Oh! Oh, wow. Novak, you're terrible till the end. It means that you have to accept that you wasted your life completely. Accept it. You can't stop this, Novak. No, in fact, it will never work. Check the cloth she has. Don't you remember? Tell him that Yolenta was the leader. Go, 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 go. No way. What the F, Novak? Oh, did you see? Did you notice? Fighting for your convictions leads you to these. Who's that? She came back. Oh, Rafal! Yeah, that's the first one you tortured, huh? Hmm. They were so bad, yeah. Ruined. In fact, that's true. Why did you keep it? Exactly. It belongs to all the people who believed in that. Lots of miserable things. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a way to accept it. That's for sure. Yeah, it's harder to accept that too. Mm. や because we always need someone good and someone bad to create. Yeah, that's a nice way of thinking. Yeah. Ah, okay, so you cared because he was young. Mm. So you felt sorry for him. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Eh, you lost the chance, yeah. Yeah, but someone has to be the villain somehow. There are no stories without villains. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow, you still kept the arm? Wow. Yes, it was her hand. Yeah. There's no hell in these, Novak. Yeah. No, she's already there, I think. Not a heaven, but a good place. But at least he did the right thing at the end, so it was not a waste. Yeah, but now, Draka, you are injured, so I hope that you can reach somewhere. Maybe somebody else will find that, so he or she will continue. Ah, yeah, because she has to send the letter, the message. Yeah, let's hope it will reach it. Wow, is she going to die? No, halfway. So, no, somebody else will continue, but we needed to understand who. They were not a waste. I hope somebody can save her. Oh, the dawn. Yeah, let's face it. No way. So she died. Oh no. Unbelievable. Ooh. Oh no, we are still in the 15th century. I thought that we moved on, but. Oh no. Okay. He didn't want the. Oh. Oh, so he was. Okay, so in this story, we always see the beginning of the circle and the end of the circle. In this case, in this episode, we saw the end of Novak and Draka. I would have never expected this, sincerely. I'm talking about Draka, because Novak, of course, he was already old, and I thought, okay, in one of these episodes, somehow he's gonna finish his existence, or let's say that the character himself would have been finished. But I've never thought that Draka would have died too, and that's why I felt really surprised. That was a really emotional episode, because Novak committed the usual crime that he was used to do throughout all his life, and he didn't change from what he was doing, because it was really hard for him to accept everything that was happening. Especially the fact that he couldn't accept that his life was a waste. That means that he preferred to follow what other people were saying without even questioning himself. That's something that I told you already in the previous episode, thoughts. But now more than ever in this episode, you understand this, that he definitely didn't want to accept what was told, and that's why he preferred to erase this possibility, because he couldn't face the truth. He couldn't face the fact that he just followed things without even thinking, and at the end of the day he was too stubborn to not face what the truth might be. That means that there are other options in life, and there is not even one and only one, because all people are different. And that's something that he couldn't stand. So when he was stabbing Anthony and then even Draka, he wanted to do the impossible to stop all these. Not just because he didn't accept a new opinion, but he couldn't accept that that opinion might have been true, because automatically that was meaning that his life was nonsense. And that's why this selfishness was more important in that moment than anything else. He didn't even care that Draka was a little woman. He was just stabbing because he preferred to save his ideals instead of saving a human being. That's even worse, you know. You can understand that selfishness is the real problem here, because everybody is so proud of their ideas that nobody wants to admit that there is the possibility that something else might be different. And that's the huge obstacle that we are seeing even nowadays. This selfishness and this arrogance that is always continuing creating obstacles, let's say meaningless obstacles, because these obstacles can be overcome if we just communicate more. Draka made a good job, because throughout her dialogues she could try to have the beginning of a discussion. So she tried her best to use the dialogue in order to reach a conclusion of the things. Okay, it didn't work because anyway she had to pay for that with her own life, but it was not meaningless, because also that helped Novak to see something else anyway. And even if he recognized everything later after, it's not a big deal, because anyway, no matter when you recognize things, the important thing is that you somehow recognize those things sooner or later anyway. It's time for him to step away from what he has done so far and focusing on the last moments of his life, thinking of what he did wrong. And I really liked that Rafal was in front of him in that moment. I mean, at the beginning versus the end, the last moments in which you think about your life, but you also think about the painful things that happened in your life, something that you can't avoid anymore. And I think Rafal was the best choice, because that was the first one who tried to communicate with Novak without having any sort of a result. But at the end of the day, something happened in Novak thanks to that dialogue. And in fact, he admitted this at the end in front of him, even if that was just an illusion. But his brain portrayed this illusion on purpose, because he knew that he was guilty because of what he had done. So I think that was the right and the proper choice to put Rafal in that moment. And I think that everything that this illusion was saying was perfect. The fact that Novak realized that he felt pain for him because he was very young and he was wasting his life. So he felt a sort of a repentment for what he did, even if it was not that clear, but by feeling pain that made you understand that he felt guilty, because otherwise he would have never felt pain or pity for what he did later. But in that moment, Rafal's illusion, let's say, said that, yeah, in that case we think differently, because Novak, till the end of his life, didn't even understand why Rafal wanted to risk his life for something that was not still confirmed. So that's the missing point, and that's why there is the dualism between someone and somebody else that are completely opposite. What this illusion said is completely right, because everything, each story needs a counterpart. We can't find a story without villains, without the protagonists, without good or without bad. Stories need both sides to create an era, to create a period of time that can be remembered somehow. And then the people coming after can choose which side to take. Yeah, there are stories in anime that teach you to not take a side, because taking a side is bad. But we have to admit to ourselves that in the world we live, there is always this contrast, and it's very hard to demolish this concept. It's very hard to go against this, because we human beings have the instinct to follow the instinct we have, but also our thoughts. And automatically, if you follow a thought, it means that another thought is contrary to your thought, and you can't stand it, or you just go against it. That's a normality. But these other stories who promote to not take sides, they are ultimate. I mean, they are beyond everything. An example could be Shingeki no Kyojin, of course, in which Isayama Sensei is telling you exactly the opposite, to not take sides, because if you take sides, then you fail and you keep repeating mistakes. That's actually what's happening here. I can quote another story, Vinland Saga, where they tell you basically that the more you take sides, the more the conflicts will never fade away. And in both of these stories, the essential thing is to try to go beyond, even if it's very hard, because we are limitful. And in the moment we are limitful, we can't reach perfection, because if we reach perfection, we stay on the same level as God. But I appreciated what Rafael said, because he said no matter what's going to happen, Novak doesn't have to feel guilty for the side he took, because anyway, even that side was useful to reach the change of the world. And yeah, of course, this illusion is made by his brain, and of course, by creating this illusion, it's just a way for him to repent himself for what he has done so far, but at the same time to try to find a peace, even if peace is impossible to be found in his soul. It's an automatic way to comfort himself. And I appreciated this dialogue that he had with himself, because it's very unusual. I mean, usually we see another character talking to this character and try to make him think so he can change his mind and whatever. But in this case, there was this contrast between himself that it was very interesting to see. And I really liked, as I told you, the choice to put Rafael, because this young boy taught him from the beginning something that other people couldn't. And I think that from that moment, even Novak realized that he was doing something wrong in his life, but he couldn't face it. He couldn't admit it to himself till his last breath. And in fact, before dying, he was still praying for Yolenta by saying that she was making lots of sins and whatever. So, till the end, he was focusing on that idea. He didn't want to abandon it. Even if he was saying, look, God, if it was not so bad what my daughter did, please let her go to heaven. But I think that there's no hell, there's no heaven. It was just his ideology that kept going on, because nobody knows what's after death. We still have to understand it. We have to live it in the moment we die. And even his consciousness was saying this to himself. He was saying, you don't know until you die, so why do you keep thinking about heaven and hell? But for sure, Yolenta died peacefully, because she had no regrets of what she did. So she was very firm with her decisions till the end. And she was really happy to have found somebody else who could have gone on with her testament. And even if Draka died, I'm sure that now we are in Poland, and there is this Albert, this new character for the last 2 episodes, who can go on with the researches even if he doesn't want to do so. His father is telling him already, okay, so if you don't care about studying or researching, why do you still have that instrument? That is an astronomical instrument, I think. And that makes you understand the same thing that happened to Yolenta, the same thing that happened to Potoki, to Rafael's father, that even if they wanted to get rid of these things and these ideas, they kept leaving those things somewhere, so that will to get rid of researching, to keep wondering, and all these kind of things was not gone completely. And that makes you understand that people can't get rid of researching, can't get rid of find answers. It's part of our own selves, that we can't just don't care and go on. There's something deep inside ourselves that tells us keep going on, find answers, keep researching, keep wondering, and all these kind of things. So I think that even this Albert will go on with the Testament, even if we are in two different contexts. That doesn't mean that things will stop. On the contrary, we learned from this story that nothing can be stopped, especially the will to change the world. So no matter if Novak tried till the end of his life to stop all these and to find excuses in the case somebody wanted to ask him what was going on, no, you can't, because there are other people who think the same as Draca, to think the same as Yolenta and many others, that make all these impossible already. What Novak wanted to do cannot be possible. And I agree with that, and I like that, because the authority that some people have, how presumptuous people can be, doesn't make anything of these stopping. And this will go on. And we know that it went on for many other years before the confirmation, let's say, that the heliocentrism was correct. I think that in the last two episodes we will see the way to reach the confirmation or something like that. I still want to see that. And talking about Draca, I was surprised that she finished her life, and before dying she was even saying something that Novak said, that means what was my life, and why do I have to die right now in this case by myself. I kept wandering, but it was not enough. I had the mission to keep wandering, but now I have to die. So even this sadness of not being able to go on as much as she thought, and even a thought regarding the money that she treasured throughout all that time, that leaded her to nothing, sincerely, because she couldn't gain money from this experience. She used the money of her father for something good, but anyway, she couldn't have any profit back, and she couldn't reach the success that she was supposed to have, and all her missions and tasks and even goals were fading away, until the dawn came out, this moment in which the sun is rising, and at the end of her life she could face that sunrise, because we know that when she was talking to Schmidt loved the dawn and she hated it. I mean, she confirmed to him that everybody likes the sunrise, but she didn't like it because she had no escape. She had always to confront her demons and all the pain she has felt throughout her life, and she wanted to escape from the ray of lights, but she couldn't. And that's why she was hating this feeling of not escape from light, and feeling peace in darkness, that I already announced during the previous episodes. I think that's very poetic, that's very, very beautiful. But at the end of her life she could face it. She cried by looking at the sun rising, and she was not afraid to face that moment. So anyway, even Draca left that world in peace, because she did what she was always afraid to do, and at the end she could face the light without feeling scared of admitting what her life was, and she was doing her best, like all the characters ending their lives in this story. They could face their fears, they could contrast their ideologies, and they were going against their convictions. So all these characters who do so, they die in peace because they are ready to say to themselves that at the end of their lives they did everything that they could have not done before. And I think that that's very amazing. That's a good teaching that this story tells us. Before dying, we should do everything that we feel that it's worth it. So then our consciousness, or let's say our energy, if it goes after life, it will rest in peace. It will be okay. And yeah, I felt sorry for Draka because she died alone. I mean, it's like a Rafal, it's like a Yolenta, all these characters who died alone. But they were very, very strong, strong personality, a strong attitude towards life. I liked that Draka, compared to Yolenta, she had the courage to speak up, the courage to say her opinion in front of authorities, while Yolenta was a little bit afraid. Do you remember when she had almost the same age as Draka? She was afraid to confront bishops, to confront Piast, to confront even that man who wanted to take the credit from her researches. I mean, she was a very shy and very scared of others, especially if those authorities were superior than her. But Draka didn't have this feeling. She confronted Novak, she confronted the bishop, she confronted even this legion of soldiers, I mean, this front of heretics. She was not scared because, as I told you, she didn't have anything to lose. No fame, no status, no money, nothing, okay? So I liked her courage, sincerely. And I liked even Novak's courage, because anyway, at the end of his life, he partially admitted that he was wrong. Not just because he said, I am the villain of this story, but even later when he could take the arm of Yolenta and he could match the glove with her arm, so he realized, oh, okay, that was actually my daughter. Because I think that he had an instinct to believe that's my daughter. I mean, I think now, by thinking about that scene in which Yolenta is burning herself, I think that Novak in that moment, I don't want to say that he realized that that's Yolenta, but he got a feeling, and now by matching the gloves with the arm, he got his confirmation. So he understood that he wasted his life, even thinking that Yolenta was dead when she was not. Novak's life was pretty miserable. And when at the beginning of the episode he is saying that the bishop is blind because he thinks about money only, that's exactly what he did too. Because when he tortured people, he was paid because of that. When he killed people, he was paid because of that. So money was tricking not only the bishop, but it was tricking him too. So that's pretty hypocrite to say something like this to the bishop when he himself gained the money for all the things he did. But anyway, he was right. Yeah, the bishop was tricked by money. Absolutely. What he wanted was not the book to be published, but was just to take a credit from those things. So that's not wrong. That's completely true. But it involves him too, because he also wanted to gain money from the tortures he made. I think that I said everything that I had to say. This story is quite inspiring, and I'm very happy to have followed it till the end. We are reaching the end anyway. In fact, the next episode will be the second to last episode, episode 24 of Orb on the Movements of the Earth. And let's see if this book will be published somehow, because Draka could send this message before dying. And let's see what's going to happen now in Poland, because we moved setting, we moved to another environment, and we see this Albert. Let's see what he wants to do, if he really wants to stop going to university or to stop researching or not. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for the support. Bye bye.